What is up, everybody? Paul James here. Give me a quick one in the chat box to let me know that you can hear me okay. On the screen, you should be seeing how to become a digital real estate agent and get people interested by email. Awesome, awesome. I also just want to make sure that you can find that chat box because during this next about 45 minutes or so, just depending on how long it takes to get through it, we're going to have a lot of interaction back and forth. So it's really, really important that you know how to use that chat box because this webinar goes in different directions based on your questions. So it's definitely a two-way conversation on these calls. So I just want you to know that ahead of time. All right, so I am going to do my best to provide you with a recording. A lot of people are asking if there will be a replay of this. I am going to do my best. That being said, there's going to be special things that I'm going to reveal to you at the end. So for those who are here, you'll want to stay live. That's something special that I'm doing for people who are here live. So you don't want to miss out on that. So I would recommend that if at all possible, you stay on with us. Also, I just want to give you a quick little warning. Now, the webinar service only allows us to cap out at a certain amount of people on, like, actually being on the call, and we've had over 2,000 people actually register for this event. So I just want to make sure that you know that if you do leave for some reason, if you try to get back on, you're probably going to have a hard time getting back on. So just try and stay on, do your best with that. Now, before I had you hop on this webinar, you may have noticed that I did a survey, okay? So most of you should have seen that survey. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to better serve you on this webinar. I didn't want to just come on here and talk about what I think you might be struggling with or with questions that I think you might have. I wanted to know exactly, like, what are you struggling with? Where do you fall into on the spectrum of things, all right? So I analyzed all those results. I really appreciate you taking the time to fill it out. I spent a lot of time going in and looking at all the results. It was really, really helpful. Gave me a lot of insight so that I can help you have a major breakthrough during this. And I'm just going to kind of go through just some of the top, like, 4 that I noticed coming through, like a pattern. Like, these ones came through over and over and over again. So one of the top struggles that a lot of people had was how to pick a niche that is actually going to generate enough leads. So, you know, people felt like maybe they would start off wrong from the get-go and not pick a niche that was going to generate enough leads and therefore kind of do a lot of work for nothing. Another thing that I saw quite often, and that was lack of confidence. So lack of confidence in, like, delivery to the client or performing the actual service. You know, just kind of that whole thing. So I saw that as a common trend of, you know, things standing in people's way from actually going and being successful with this. Another thing that I saw quite often was finding lead buyers was something that a lot of people said was kind of standing in their way from, you know, actually getting this business off the ground, like finding someone who's actually going to be willing to pay you for them. And then also what to charge, kind of along that same vein. You know, what are you going to actually charge them? What is your lead actually worth to them? So just to make sure that you're in the right place, anyone here find themselves with one or more of these questions, just let me know, signify it by a number. Like if you have all 4 of these struggles, just put the number 4. If you have like a couple of them, like 2, just put the number 2 in the chat box. I just kind of want to see where we sit, if I'm kind of on the right track here. Okay, a lot of people are saying 4s, some are saying 2, some are saying 3. All right, well, it's safe to say then there's just a lot of flood of those coming in actually. So I'm really happy to see that then, because basically that's what I've prepared for you today during the next you know, several minutes here, is how to overcome all of these. So I'll just kind of break down basically what my promise is to you today, like what you can expect during this webinar. So my promise to you is that I will give you answers to all of these questions and I'll leave no stone unturned. Now, I'm going to do this with real working strategies that are backed by proof and case studies, not theory, right? You see a lot of other people out there who they kind of sound like they know what they're talking about, but they don't really have any proof to back it up. So then you're kind of wondering in your head, like, okay, are they really doing this, or does this just kind of sound good, right? Not me. I'm gonna show you what's actually working in my business, and you'll see that because we'll have a bunch of case studies going on in the meantime and why I know that it's working. It's also going to be something that you can take action on and emulate immediately. So as soon as we get off of this call, you could very well go and just start implementing stuff. But this is all under a few conditions. My promise is to teach you all this stuff, but under a few conditions. So I need you to promise to me that you're going to close out of all options right now. All right? I don't want to waste my time. I don't want you to waste yours. So turn off your Facebook, turn off your cell phone, throw it in the drawer or something for now. Close out of all the other tabs in your browsers. If you're like me, you normally have like 100 tabs open at once. Close out of them. Close your office door. Go somewhere quiet. And make sure that you can give your 100% attention to this. I mean, if you want to build a real business, it's time that you treat it like a business and not like a hobby. So you really have to really focus here, okay? So do I have your 100% commitment? If I have your 100% commitment that you're gonna give this your all, you're gonna pay attention, and eliminate all distractions, you can let me know by giving some yeses in the chat box. Then I will promise to deliver on my end and give everything I've got into this because I want you to have a major breakthrough today, okay? All right, awesome. I appreciate that. Lots of yeses. That's great. Okay, so before we get into this, I need to give you a quick legal disclaimer because we are going to be breaking down case studies in my business, right? So I'm going to be showing you like success I've had with certain clients and some of the things that I'm doing. And I don't want you to take that as my results are typical or that I'm saying that you're going to get the exact same results because I can't do that. I don't know you. I don't know your experience level or anything like that. So what I can show you is what's working for me in case studies of what I'm doing. So let's get into how lead generation found me because truth be told, I didn't just go looking for lead generation. I came upon it kind of in a unique way, which I think is pretty cool. And by the way, just in case anyone's new here, again, my name is Paul James. That's me. I'm sitting on the back of my deck in that picture. And I've been doing this for quite a while now, about 6 years full time. So I was working at a heating and cooling company, and I was working in the office, and then I ended up, just to kind of make a long story short, I ended up getting laid off from that job and forced me into working at Walmart, and that kind of sucked. I was going to school at the time as well after that, to college to get a nursing degree. But while I was doing all of that, and this is kind of how this whole thing kind of fell into my lap, I was playing in a band at the time. So that's me over on the left, playing guitar. And during that time, I was on social media a lot promoting my band. So and a lot of you here probably are familiar with MySpace, right? That was kind of what was before Facebook. I was on there all the time promoting my band, and one day I happened to come across an ad online, and it was talking about making money online. So to make a long story short, I did end up buying what they were pitching, and basically what it was about was providing SEO services, not providing them necessarily, but doing SEO on little one-page blogs, so like little WordPress blogs, for example, and selling affiliate marketing products, like products that you'd find on ClickBank. So I started doing that, and I really, really learned the skill well. It just clicked for me. I really grasped SEO, and I was having some success with ranking stuff. But my creative side came out of me, and I was reminded back of the time that I worked for the heating and cooling company and thought to myself, what if I started actually providing SEO as a service, right? Instead of just doing these little one-page blogs for myself, what if I went out there and I sold this to local business owners? So again, to make a long story short, that's what I ended up doing. I ended up picking up a couple clients and ended up moving into doing it full time actually. Like as soon as I really committed, I went all in. Like I wasn't playing around. I quickly came to find out though that selling SEO was too hard, right? It was just really, really hard. A lot of business owners out there had been getting pitches from a lot of people like yellowpages.com, and then they were getting like sold monthly packages, and then they weren't being provided the package that yellowpages.com promised them. I'm just naming them for example, like that's one of the common companies that I would hear about. But this was happening to like a lot of different business owners with a lot of different companies, and it made SEO really hard to sell. Now, in addition to that, I wasn't being taken seriously, like at all. That's a picture of one of my album covers. Right around the time that I went full time, that's basically what I looked like. That was the photo to my album cover. So with the long hair and stuff like that, and of course, you know, I look pretty young and all of that stuff. It just was very hard to get business owners to take me seriously. So I got an idea because when I used to work at that heating and cooling company, I was in the office answering phones. And one day I happened to get a call from a company called Service Magic. Now they're called, at the time they were called Service Magic. Anyone here ever hear of Service Magic? Let me just put a 1 in the chat box. So what Service Magic does, I see lots of ones coming in, that's great. What Service Magic does is they essentially sell you leads, right? So they called us up, they asked if we wanted to buy some leads from them, and I got to thinking, you know, maybe I could do that same thing. So are business owners really buying leads though? Well, I thought this was pretty interesting. I pulled this article off of Forbes, and I'm going to highlight right here, draw a little box around it. They're doing 300 million plus in annual revenue. All right, 300 million plus. That's pretty insane, wouldn't you say? So I think that's proof to say that business owners are definitely buying leads. And the way I look at it is like this. Even if you could capture, let's say, 0.1% of their market, you'd be sitting at a pretty comfortable $300,000 a year, right? Which is pretty great, right? That's pretty comfortable. You could go buy a nice house with that, buy some nice cars, and be living the dream. So long story short, that's the path I decided to go. I decided to start shifting away from the whole SEO thing, like selling SEO, and decided to start, I guess, putting my money where my mouth was and just selling leads to people. So you're probably thinking, how can I compete with the giant Home Advisor, right? There's this huge company, you know, there's no way that I can compete with them, right? Well, this is the answer, and if I wouldn't have gotten that call that day when I was sitting in the office of the heating and cooling company, I would have never known this. It's exclusivity, okay? Exclusivity. Have you guys ever been to like Walmart or Best Buy on a Black Friday? Let me know in the chat box. You may have seen a picture that looks like this, well, live right in front of you if you have been, because what happens is everyone lines up at like 3 in the morning, and then they have like TVs at like a discounted price, and then all of a sudden they like unrope the TVs, and a massive flock of people come like jumping in, and they bombard the TVs, and people are like pushing and shoving. Sean says they get stampeded. Yeah, exactly. It's quite a sight. If for nothing else, you should go and watch it for the entertainment sometime, because it's pretty entertaining. But anyways, that's basically what it's like working with Home Advisor, and I can say that because when I worked for the heating and cooling company, we experienced this firsthand. So what Home Advisor does is they take this one lead that comes in and they sell it to you, but at the same time they sell it to like 5 or 6 other heating and cooling companies in this example. So what ends up happening is everyone bombards a single lead, and it ends up either being a case of whoever gets to the lead first or whoever has the lowest price, and you're still getting charged full price for the lead no matter what, even if someone else gets the job. So it's like you didn't even have a fair shot at it to begin with. So I learned very quickly, my boss learned very quickly, that he was very dissatisfied with the leads and didn't stay a customer of them for too long. So I got into the business of doing this, exclusively. That's how I stood out. Now, a major shift happened in my mindset when I started to figure this out. Because suddenly, when you stop having to deliver SEO, because you're building stuff ahead of time and just selling leads, well, your confidence, quite frankly, goes through the roof. All of the what ifs start to go away. They start to disappear, right? Because I know when I first started off, I would sign a client and I would promise to get them to the first page or promise to try and increase their rankings. But there's always like that thing in the back of your mind, you know, your little monkey brain going and saying, well, what if you can't rank them? What's going to happen then? You've taken this check for $500 or $1,000. What happens if you can't rank them? What happens if you can't get them results? All of that stuff goes away when you shift into just selling leads. Makes sense, right? Can I get some twos? Let me get some twos to confirm that we're kind of on the same page here. Okay, great. Perfect. So I just kind of want to show you what some of this work looks like that I do ahead of time. Okay, so pay attention to this. These are like some case study type things. And I just kind of want you to focus on what you see on the screen because I'm going to ask you a little pop quiz in a second about what you're looking at. So I'm just showing you a couple different niches that I work in. Some older, some existent, some not, but you'll get the point. So what's one thing that you see in common with all these sites? Let's see who can get it right in the chat box. What's one thing that you see in common with all these sites? Okay, I see some people saying contact form. Some people are saying lead capture, call to action, get a quote, generic. Yeah, that's a great point. So like the names of all of these sites are definitely generic, right? If you take a look at them, Waukesha Home Heating, Brookfield Roofing, First Moving Service, they definitely all have get a free quote on it with a form, or as Leslie had said in the chat box, a call to action. Okay, so aside from the naming and the call to actions, here's some other things that all of these sites have in common. All of them are actually targeting low competition keywords, meaning I don't have to put a lot of work into them. They're all running passively, right? When I set them up, they run passively. I don't really ever touch them again. They each took me about 3 hours of work to set up, or less in many cases. And again, that's due to the point number one, because they're all targeting low competition keywords. And each site that I set up like this averages 15 to 30 leads per month. Okay, then you can get a pretty good idea of what a site is going to generate you in terms of leads. There's been a study done, and I posted it here just because I thought it might be kind of helpful for you. This is like what you can expect in terms of percentage rates of people who are going to come to your site based on what position you're ranked in Google. So if you're ranked in position number 1, you're going to get over a third of the traffic. Well, not over a third, just about a third of the traffic. If you're ranked number 2, you're getting about 17%. If you're ranked number 3, about 11.4%. So, for example, if I were to target a keyword that got a search volume of, let's say, 100 monthly searches, even if I was ranked number 3, I'm probably going to get about 10 people or more coming to that site. So that's kind of how you can guesstimate. It's a little helpful metric that I like to use. So how much can I realistically charge for 15 to 30 leads coming in every single month? Like, what can I get away with charging? What are business owners going to be willing to pay? So I'm going to pop out of the PowerPoint presentation. I've got some intel for you that I think you'll appreciate. Who wants to see some secret intel? Let me know in the chat box. Anyone want some secret intel? Okay. ServiceMagic's lead fee schedule. So ServiceMagic's doing pretty well, right? Why not just go and take a look at what people are paying them? So since we're reusing the heating and air conditioning example, let's just drop down to that and see what people are paying for air conditioning install leads. Okay, heating and cooling, central AC install right here, $55 per lead. Now remember, that lead is not exclusive. That's going out to, 5 different people. And no matter what, they're still paying for the lead, whether they get the job or not. So now we have an idea of what people are willing to pay for leads, right? So let me just kind of break this down for you. Let's do a little basic math, okay? I'm going to do this on the low side, right? We're going to be really, really conservative with things here, but conservatively, let's say we only generate 15 leads per month. And at $55 a lead, we're talking about $825 in revenue per month from selling those leads, right? Now that's on the low end, of course, because a lot of sites are going to generate more than 15 leads per month. But on the low end, I mean, I'd say that's pretty conservative. It's also on the low end because you can really probably charge more than $55 a lead. But if you wanted something that's, you know, truly passive, you truly don't have to worry about. Let's look at it this way. If you wanted to make 6 figures a year, right, pretty comfortable income, about 100 grand a year, we're talking about building about 10 of these little sites, 10 of these local sites like the ones I showed you in some previous slides, right? That's not bad. Who here thinks that they can build one site a month? If you could build just one site a month, by the end of the year, you'd have 12 of these babies cranking out, you know, these leads and about a 6-figure income, right? If our math is correct here. I see Kevin saying I can do this. John says a day. Yeah, I mean, I'm just being conservative here because this is internet marketing and some people want to live the lifestyle, they want a vacation, but I think we could all here commit to building one site a month, right? That's possible. All right, so truth be told, like I said, this isn't the only way to build jobs. I'm going to show you a series of emails. Again, like I said, I've got the goods for you. I've got the case studies because this is something that I'm out there doing. This is another way that you could build. You could learn what someone charges for a job. Okay, so let me grab my pen tool. These guys charge about $1,300 to $1,500. And are people willing to pay you a percentage? The answer is yes. Here's another email from someone. They ask, what percentage do you want? So people are willing to pay it. In fact, I've even flat out asked, what are you willing to pay? And people have told me the common answer is about 10%. They say about 8 to 10, but the common answer I get is about 8 to 10%. So coming back to this example again, we could say conservatively, since about 1,300, you know, they're telling me what their job is about worth. I can guesstimate that if I did a percentage fee, I could probably get about $130 for drywalling, right? So that would significantly decrease the amount of sites that I'd have to build to reach that 6-figure income, right? That would cut it almost into thirds. So pretty cool. It's not the only way. But you're probably thinking, what's the easiest way to find these buyers? Like, how am I getting these emails? Like, what's the easiest way? So, who wants to know that? I've got the goods. I'm happy to share it with you. Let me know in the chat box if you want to know the easiest way to find buyers for these leads. All right, I'm going to break it down for you. So this is kind of, I've got like a practical approach and then I've got a ninja approach. We're going to start with the practical approach first, then we're going to move on to the ninja approach. So the practical approach is look back in several pages of Google. So you don't want someone who's on the first page. You want someone who's maybe on page 2 or page 3 and reach out to them to buy the leads. Like, just find someone you think you want to work with. The other approach is Craigslist. People are posting on Craigslist all the time. They're looking for work. That's also another great place to look. I'll just give you kind of a very quick run through of how I might do this. So let's start with Craigslist. I could go into Craigslist. Let's say I was working with a mover. I could come under the services section, look under labor/move, and I could just start going through and looking at all of these different posts that are here. Like, there's just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of them, right? Pages and pages and pages of people who are willing to, looking for work, I should say, rather. So what I do is I start looking through these, and really I'm looking for contact details because I do all of my approach, all of my outreach through email. I never like to cold call. I don't know about you guys, but that was one thing that I was trying to overcome was the whole aspect of outreach and meeting with people. Like, I just wanted hands off. So look at the ads. A lot of times you'll find websites. Sometimes you can look at their pictures and you can grab the details of their company name by what's on their truck or whatever like that. But then you can like open up their website and start looking around for an email address. So like here's a good example right here, right? Here's their email address. The same goes for Google. Let's we'll just go with the movers again. We'll just do movers Milwaukee for a keyword, and we'll start going back a couple pages and see what we find. All right, so back to page 3, we'll click on a result here. Sometimes you can find contact details on their contact page, and there it is, right? Email address again. So that's kind of an example of how I would go and look for people that way. Now I have another ninja strategy. Wouldn't it be a lot easier if I could find people who are already paying HomeAdvisor for leads, right? They're already buying leads. They're probably not very happy with the leads since they're non-exclusive. So imagine the possibility of being able to just go and tap into who's paying them and offer them a better deal. So that's what I started doing. I'll show you how I do that. Let me pull open this. Okay, so this is a tool that I use called Lead Advisor, and with Lead Advisor, we'll just use air conditioning again for an example. I can come in there and choose what niche. I can type in an area code like 53218 for Milwaukee, and I can hit search. And what Lead Advisor will do is it'll pull back the people who are paying for air conditioning leads. So now I can grab their contact details and reach out to them, right? They're already lead buyers. Pretty ninja, right? Give me some ones in the chat box if you're with me, if you're following. That like super simplifies things. Okay, lots of ones coming in, great. All right, so how do you choose a market though? Like, how do you know what market is going to generate leads, like a market where there's lead buyers? So there's some obvious ways. I'm going to break this down for you. So the first obvious way is you could just go to HomeAdvisor's website, right? They have all of the different services that they provide or that they get leads for. So you can come in here, you can check out what different categories there are, and this is a great start. The other way to do it is you can start looking at volume for the keyword, like what kind of volume it gets as far as like searches. Who here has seen the Google AdWords Keyword Planner changes? Anyone familiar with those? If not, I can kind of break them down for you. But there's been some things changing. Okay, lots of yeses, some nos. Show us. Okay, so let me show you what they did here. So this is a free tool, or I guess they're trying to eliminate some of the data that you can see for free, but it's still good enough, honestly, and I'll show you why. You could come to this at adwords.google.com and pop under Tools and come to Keyword Planner, and in this box here is where you want to start typing in your phrases. So like we'll target movers Milwaukee, Milwaukee movers. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this because I know a lot of you guys probably are familiar with this, but I just want to show you kind of a really quick approach. Moving company Milwaukee, and then you hit Get Ideas. And what happens is after this loads, under this Keyword Ideas tab, you'll be presented with some results. Now, this is what they did here. Under this average monthly searches column, this number used to be exact. Like it used to say Movers Milwaukee gets exactly 320 people searching for it a month. Now, instead of that, it gives you a range. It says 100 to 1,000. So to be honest, it kind of sucks that they removed the exact number, but it's still really not that big of a deal. I mean, this is a low enough range like to where it's not really going to make that big of a difference. So there's some different things that I do to really help solidify my my guesses, I guess, because no matter what, you're still kind of guessing at things, like if it's a good keyword. So the first thing is I try to look for keywords over 100. So if they're between 100 and 1,000, that's really great. The next thing I look at to confirm if it's good is, does it have a suggested bid on it? This means, like, if I were to go in Google again and search movers Milwaukee, these people that have these ads here where it says ad in green, ad in green, ad in green, that means that they're approximately paying $4.69 every time someone clicks on their ad. So what that signals to me is that if people are willing to pay for this keyword, then it's probably a pretty decent keyword. So I use that as a guideline as well. All right. If you really want to start digging in deeper, you could start investigating paid tools. Like there's a tool called SpyFu. Now this absolutely isn't necessary. Like I said, I mean, you can get a pretty good idea just using the free keyword planner. But SpyFu will let you reverse engineer your competitor. Like, let's take this guy for example. Grab the guy who's ranked #1, punch them into SpyFu under the SEO research tab, and there's this tab here called SEO keywords, and it'll actually show you the searches per month. Right? It'll break them down. Now, I have noticed that there's some inconsistencies with SpyFu. So it's not perfect either. Like, this might not be the exact data. But it gets you closer, right? It gets you closer to a more accurate guess, which I really like. There's also some free plugins out there that you can use, which will throw up the exact number right here when you type it into Google. Like, check this out. 390 searches per month under movers Milwaukee, or if I do furniture movers Milwaukee, that one doesn't get anything. If I do piano movers Milwaukee, that one looks like it's not showing any. Oh, here it is, 170. That one's showing. Just took a minute to load. I can also come down to the suggested search, and it'll show me different suggestions on what those suggested keywords get as well. And then also, this is kind of cool. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Ubersuggest, but just to give you, I just want to give you some options. Ubersuggest, you can come in here and enter in movers Milwaukee and hit suggest, and it'll give you some other suggestions of keywords to use if it loads. Try it one more time. If it doesn't load, oh well, you know the site, you can go check it out later, but it's a pretty cool site as well. All right, looks like it's not loading for me right now, which may just be because I'm on the webinar, or they may be doing maintenance, but you could check it out later. It's a pretty cool site as well. My point is that there's lots of options, and I think that kind of breaks down. Is that enough detail for you guys on choosing a market? Like, I don't want to spend too much time on this. So if that's cool, I'll go ahead and move forward. Okay, cool. Awesome, awesome. Let's just keep going then. So how do you get a business to actually buy from you? Like, you know how to pick a good market, you know how to find potential prospects who should be buying leads from you, but how do you actually get them to buy the leads from you? So who here wants to see my exact email script / strategy for landing clients? Like I said, I don't like doing cold calling. I don't like meeting with clients. I developed this strategy initially because I was in a band and had long hair and people just weren't taking me seriously. So if you want to see it, let me know in the chat box and I will show it to you. Okay. Yeah, I can show you guys the exact scripts and emails I use. In fact, I've got case studies, like I said. So I alluded to it before when you saw it with the drywall lead, but let's kind of break this down a little bit further so that you can exactly see how this works. So my subject line is structured like this. Need a quote for service in city. So need a quote for drywall in Milwaukee. That's my subject. This goes out to, like, for example, when I found that moving company's email address, I would send it out to like them. So my email says basically something like this. Hi, I was wondering if you could give me a ballpark estimate on this. We're looking to get drywall hung and mudded in our rec room. It's approximately 900 square feet. Thanks. So obviously this information I'm gathering from the customer. Like, I've got leads coming into my site. I grab one of those leads, the data from it, and see what they're looking for, and then I email it off to a client that I think I might want to sell leads to, and I ask them for a quote. So they'll normally reply back with something like they did here. They'll either say that they need more details, or they'll give you a ballpark estimate like you asked for, or they'll say they want to talk to you. So that's kind of the response you get. So from this point now, you have to kind of shift out of this mode, because right now you're in the mode of they kind of think you might be a customer inquiring. You haven't really said who you are. So now you need to shift out of that mode. And that basically goes with an email that's essentially something like this. Hey, I'm actually a lead generator. This lead came in from one of my digital properties. I have several of these just like this, and I'd be happy to send them to you exclusively. You can either from there branch off to telling them how much it's going to cost, or ask them if they'd be interested, and that's kind of how you kick things into gear and get things moving. So one way, if you really want to hook them, like this is like a slam dunk, is give them what I call a trial lead. So you could give them a lead or even 2 leads to try out, to prove that you're legitimate, that you've got real legitimate leads. And that's like a real like slam dunk, like hook, line, and sinker. They're going to be in. So this is what happens if you kind of approach them and just kind of ask them and feel them out, you know, like, are you interested? You normally get responses that look something like this. Hi, I've been waiting for someone to contact me with sensible lead generation. I need at least a phone number and email with each lead. I can take it from there. Give me both options, what percentage you want, or what would flat rate per lead be. So you can literally like choose what your pricing model is. So it's a great conversation starter. It works so well. Like, it's been the easiest way I've ever known to sell leads. Otherwise, sometimes you'll get responses like this. Please call me with a phone number. Again, this isn't a cold call at this point. This is a warm lead. This is someone who knows what you're offering. They want to know more information. They just want the details. So I don't mind talking to people at this point, but this doesn't always happen. A lot of times the deals are closed entirely through email. Sometimes it happens like this too. Sometimes people will just answer what they're willing to pay you, because I've asked, like, you know, how much percentage would you pay me per lead? And they'll tell you if you want to do it that way. All right, so what do these 3 deals I made have in common? They all have something in common, so I'm going to break it down for you. Number 1 is that they all came in on the same day. All of them. Number 2 is that all of them were done without a single cold call. Okay? That you saw the email script I used. No cold calling required. Number 3, the clients actually all came to me on autopilot, 100%. Now I know that sounds kind of weird because I just showed you an email script and how I approach them, but I actually didn't even do anything. I had them coming to me 100% on autopilot. Anyone here curious on how I did that? Anyone here want to know how I was able to get all of these 3 deals to come to me without having to do anything? Okay, lots of yeses. I'll break it down for you. So you guys saw those forms that were on each of my sites, right? So what I do is I program these forms to put real data into the email. So let me kind of show you what this looks like. So here's a city field of my form. What happens is that comes and gets inserted into the email over here. Kind of a bad drawer with the mouse, but I think you get the point. The square footage over here in this field came and got placed right here, right? This service option, this was actually the drywall selection. This is where I asked them for, you know, did they need drywall? Did they need building material? Like, I had different options in there. In this case, they selected drywall. That got inserted there. This details one, that was this right here. We're looking to get drywall hung. That's that more detail section. So what I didn't do is I didn't give them the name. I still have this info, but I didn't give it to them. I didn't give them the email. And in some cases, customers will actually upload a picture, and you can choose to send that too if you want. I didn't in this case. But so this is what happens. Everything else, other than these unique fields, I pre-programmed to send in every email. Like this, hi, like this, I was wondering if you could give me a ballpark estimate on this. Like this, it's approximately. Like this, thanks. Like this, need a quote for and in. All of that is stock. That goes out with every email. but what's not stock is where I've got the arrows pointing to. That comes out through the form. So what happens is I program these forms. When I have leads coming in, but I have no buyers, I program the forms to send off to a bunch of different people, right? A bunch of different companies I think I might want to work with. Not talking just one, not talking two, I'm talking like 10 different people that I think I might want to work with. And then I just wait for a response. Whoever responds first and work out a deal. Pretty cool, right? Who here wants to see a demo of how this works, of how I set this form up and, you know, the process of that? Anyone interested in seeing that? Okay, lots of yeses. All right, cool. I'll break it down for you. So give me a second to pull it open here, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. Okay, so this is what the form interface looks like. So what I do, and I'm going to delete this form. This is a demo account so that I can show it to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to create a brand new form. Since we're using the drywall example or moving example, I'll just do that. So we'll call this form moving company. So your success message can be whatever. It can be like, thanks, your estimate's been received, or thanks, we'll get a quote out to you. We'll contact you with a quote. And then from there, it's just a matter of setting up your form. And it's very easy. You literally grab what field you want, drag it over, and then hit this edit button, and you call it what you want. So let's say I want a name field on the form. I'll call it name. For the placeholder, I'll say first and last. I want first and last name. This help text, I don't think I need help text because it's pretty obvious what I'm asking for. And you can check whether or not you want the field to be required, like if they have to fill the information out in order to submit the form. In this case, I want their name, so I'm going to require it. I might also want a phone number, so we'll drag over another text input. We'll call this one phone. For placeholder, it'll be phone. No help text needed. We'll leave it required. I'll save that. Maybe I also want to get an email, so we'll call the label text email. All right, great. I'm going to make that required. Now here's where things start to get interesting, right? This is where I might start asking stuff that's only going to be like dynamic, stuff that I want to start including in my email. So I might ask for city. So I'll say, what city, or where are you located? What city are you located in? Okay, we'll require that. I could do a drop down if I wanted as well, like throw in a drop down here. Maybe I want to know the type of property it is, so we'll put type. And for options, maybe it's residential or commercial, right? A moving company might want to know that. And by the way, if you're wondering like how you get ideas of what moving companies might want to know when they're giving you a quote, you could just look at your competition and see what are the competitors asking for when they have their quote form set up, and you can get ideas that way. So that's kind of the things I would put in. I might put in one of these text areas here. Call this details. I'll say give us as much details about your move. And I might put like how many bedrooms, etc. Something like that. Okay, I could keep going, but I think you get the point. At this point, we can put in a get quote button. So we'll do that. I like to fancy this up a little bit and do it like this. Get quote. We'll do this warning color and hit save. That looks good. You see this file button here? You can also choose to put an image in if you want. So like when I'm working with like a heating contractor, I'll come in here sometimes and I'll put an image and I'll put something to the effect of not required, but may help us give you a more accurate quote. So I won't make that required. And what that does is I can choose to send the image off to these contractors, which adds some real legitimacy to the lead. I won't do that for this case, but we'll save that. So next up is the sender name. So if you want to use your name, or if you want to use a pen name, that would be the details that go here. Say paul@paul.com. And then this is where the magic happens. Where do you want the leads to send to, right? So this is part of the magic, I should say. There's a little bit more to it than this. So this is where you start going back and grabbing that email address that you researched ahead of time off of Google or off of Craigslist, and then you can put a comma and you can find the one that you found off of Craigslist. You know, these are all potential people that you want to sell leads to. And you can keep going, you know, do this like 7 to 10 different times and then save that. Okay, so this is where part 2 of the magic happens that I was talking about, where stuff starts to get dynamic. So remember, my subject line was need a quote for moving in, and then that was my city tag. So notice down here, all of my tags are here from my form. The name field, the phone field, the email field, the city field, the type field, whether it was residential or the details, all of those fields are here. Now we're not going to give them all those fields, but we're going to give them some real fields from the form. So I'm going to grab this city tag, and I'm going to put need a quote for moving in city. And I'm also going to put type. So it's going to say need a quote for residential moving in Milwaukee, or need a quote for commercial moving in Milwaukee. Again, I could attach the uploaded images if they've included them. Like, it might add some legitimacy to the lead, so sometimes I do that. And then I start typing out my email. So my email is going to be something like, hi, I was wondering if you could give me a ballpark estimate on this move. And I could say something like, we're located in, here I'm going to use the city tag again. So this is going to be unique based on the person who fills out the form. These are real leads being sent out. We're just not giving them all the information until we get them locked in as a client. It's a, I'm going to grab the type field, whether it's residential or commercial, property. And then I'm just going to throw in the details field here. So in the details field, they might leave something like it's a 4-bedroom house or something like that. And then I'll just say, thanks. Done. Okay, so what happens now is I take this form and I can put it on my websites. This iframe form right here, this can go on any of my websites. It can go on all of my moving sites that are in Milwaukee. If I make changes to it, the changes will show up. So in my example, I use WordPress. I love WordPress sites. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you can see better. I love WordPress sites. It's a free platform to build websites on, and I just really, really like them because it's like just typing in Microsoft Word. So here's where I put my quote request form. So if you're using WordPress, it's as easy as this. Come under Appearance, come under Widgets, normally where I put it in the sidebar, and see this text widget down here that I'm wiggling around? You take that, you drag it up on your sidebar, and right where I'm highlighting this image, or this iframe, that's the code from request emit, right here. That's it. So you take that and you paste it in there, and you save it, and it shows up looking just like this. Now if I were to make any changes in request emit to the form, like let's say I were to add another field, it updates automatically all instances of the form, no matter where it is. All right? So it's really, really cool. So what happens is now I've got a site, I've got leads coming in, but I don't have a lead buyer yet. Well, I program my request emit form to send it out either to people I researched or people I found in my lead advisor software who are already paying Home Advisor. I program it to send it out to them, and then I get those responses and I close the deal. All right, so what do you guys think? Is that pretty ninja or what? It's awesome, right? Yes, it is, Robert. Okay, lots of yeahs, lots of awesomes, lots of greats. Cool. So request emit is normally $497 per month to use Requestimate. You can see there I've got a little tick box on there to make it $497 a month. I had my programmer program that in there. But you guys aren't going to pay that much for Requestimate. I know that this tool is something that you absolutely get your hands on to succeed because it's going to help you have a major breakthrough. It's going to keep you, it's like the difference between keeping you from where you are and having you actually push through and get the success that you've been wanting, right? This takes away all of the awkward face-to-face meetings. It takes away the need to have to cold call. It truly is like passive income because you set these little local sites up, you throw up the Requestimate forms, and the leads pour in, and they basically sell themselves. Like, I've automated 95% of it with this. So I'm doing a special charter member access during this webinar, and I'm gonna extend this to you because you guys are my tribe, and I want to help you. I want to take care of you guys. So you guys aren't going to pay that. I'm going to waive that high monthly fee forever. So you're never going to have to pay that high $497 monthly fee. But it would be well worth it even if you did have to. Also going to give you access to the Requestimate software, which is obvious. You're going to get unlimited dynamic forms, meaning you can create as many forms as you want, use them across all your websites. You're also going to get access to 19 training videos. Okay, there's training that's built in with the platform and tracking on all the leads. I'm going to actually show you this really quickly before we go any further because I do think that this is definitely important. So under the submissions tab, once you get leads start coming in, and again this is a demo account, so I've pre-populated some content in here. What happens is you get tracking on what date the leads came in on, who they were sent to, so once you actually get someone to buy your leads, you can change that sender field to send to just one person. Otherwise, it'll get sent out to everyone until someone's buying them. The details of the lead, and you can switch between which form the leads came in from. So like if it came in from my Waukesha home heating site, I would select that. Once I have leads coming in from other sites, they would populate there. And then again, the training I was talking about is very step-by-step. It goes from left to right. So you walk through a quick orientation. You'll integrate an email service provider so that you can send the emails. Now we've built in free ones like Gmail and Yahoo, but I recommend that you just go with SendGrid or MailJet. And SendGrid and MailJet both will give you free packages. Like SendGrid will let you send 12,000 emails a month when you're first starting off for free. So that'll get you pretty far. Like you're gonna do a lot of damage with 12,000 free emails per month before you actually need to pay for it. Like you'll get up and running and you'll be good to go. But you'll have to pick one of these two integrations. Then I walk through how to create the form. I walk through how to embed it on the site, which I kind of just did that with you, but just so you can get the full rundown. Then comes the training section where I run through all the stuff in detail, like picking a niche and how I do the keywords. Like remember when I showed you earlier about that cool plugin where I go in and type in Movers Milwaukee and automatically it shows me the monthly search volume here. Right, I talk about that in the course as well. So while everyone else is stuck without having access to that data because Google AdWords made all kinds of crazy changes, you guys are going to know how to do that as well. And then we set up the site together. We walk through how I set up my WordPress sites. I give you the exact theme that I use and walk you through how I set it up. It's a free theme, so there's no like additional costs or anything like that. It's just a free theme that I use. But I walk you through all of that. It's the same strategies that I've used to rank several of my sites. Like for example, I've used the same strategy to claim the #1 spot on remove bad reviews. So this is me here. It's also the same one that I've used to rank my Waukesha home heating site, which is here. It's also here, so the strategies work for that. So yeah, it's just pretty killer training as well that comes with it. But to be honest, we're not doing a whole lot. Like you don't have to do really crazy SEO like you would have to on like a higher affiliate traffic site or something like that. And the reason why is because remember, all of the sites that I've shown you that are generating these 15 to 30 leads per month, they're all targeting very low competitive keywords. And in fact, I've even got outsourcers that I use to outsource all the work, which I can give you access to that as well. So I'm going to do something special because I like action takers. I want you to be successful, so I'm going to do some fast action bonuses here. And I know that people really love this stuff. So I'm going to make these available for this webinar, these fast action bonuses. And once they're gone, they're gone. So I'm definitely rewarding you for not sitting on the fence, because I really want you to get in and take action on this and be successful with it. So for the first 25 people, you're going to get all that stuff that we talked about, but you're also going to get 4 weeks of bonus coaching. Now, this is a $3,000 value. That's what I charge for coaching. And it's going to be implementation coaching is what it's going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to literally every week go on a webinar for 4 weeks and get you implementing step by step, like do this, do that. This week, this is what I want you to do. Next week, this is what I want you to do. So that you're not just like sitting there with a bunch of stuff that you don't know what to do with. You're going to be implementing it with me. So that's going to be really helpful. I wanted to make sure that I made that available for you as well. I'm also going to give access to the first 25 people only, the Lead Advisor software. You guys saw how killer the Lead Advisor software was. The Lead Advisor software was this one here, which pulled the data from Home Advisor of who's paying for their leads, right? That's so, so valuable. It takes the guesswork out of finding buyers because you already know who's paying for leads, not only who's paying for leads, but non-exclusive leads. All you have to do is add in your little unique selling proposition, which is my leads are unique. And boom, done deal. Okay, so that's for the first 25 people. I've got another fast action bonus package planned out as well. This is for the first 50. So if you miss out on one of the first 25, but you're one of the first 50, you're still going to get access to the 4 weeks of bonus coaching, but you're not going to get access to the Lead Advisor software. You're just going to get access to, you still get access to the Requestimate and the training and all that. The only thing you'd miss out on is if you're not one of the first 25, you wouldn't get the Lead Advisor software. So that's the special bonus for the first 50. Like I said, guys, I really want to see you have a massive breakthrough here, which is why I'm offering this ridiculous bonus package. I know I could sell this and have sold it before without having to have any of these bonuses, and it's well worth it. But I really, really, really want to see you succeed with this. And I put on the Lead Advisor software a $497 per year value, but honestly, this software, the Lead Advisor one, it's not even for sale anywhere. You can't even buy that software, and I did that for a particular reason because I don't want everyone using it. Like, that's my special sauce, my secret weapon. So if you're one of the first 25, you're going to get access to that as well. So here's the rundown. Enough of the anticipation. This is where the details come in, and you can make a decision. Hopefully I made it an easy decision for you because, quite frankly, I think it's a very easy decision. You can get access to all that today for a one-time payment of $497, right? So I'm waiving that monthly fee forever. Now, I am, of course, hosting your forms forever, right? Like, I have to host them. I have to make sure they're up and running 24/7. I have to maintain the software. So I do have to build in some kind of residual to do that. Like, you don't want me to collect your money and all of a sudden, like, I don't have money to maintain the software anymore, right? A year or 2 years from down the road. So what I'm doing is I'm building in just a small maintenance fee of $97 per year. So you're getting that high monthly fee waived forever. And this maintenance fee, by the way, isn't due until a year from now. So today, you just pay the $497, and then a year from now, that's when you would pay the $97. And again, that's just for me to keep hosting your forums, keep making sure that I can keep a programmer on to keep the software running. And you could cancel this at any time, too. Like, let's say 6 months from now comes and you decide you no longer want to use the software anymore. That's fine. Then you can cancel it and you won't get charged the $97 a year anymore. But this is a very special package I've put together for you, and I just can't wait to see all the new people come in. Again, the high monthly fee waived forever, and that's only during this special webinar launch, okay? So if you want in, I'm going to throw the link up now and be prepared because, like I said, we have all of these special bonuses that are going to be available, and there's obviously a cap on that to whoever gets in first. So here it goes, guys. Ready for the link? pauljames.com/requestimate, okay? pauljames.com/requestimate. That's the link to get in to sign up. When you sign up, you'll instantly be taken inside of the Requestimate software, right? You're going to have instant access to that. You'll have instant access to all of the training. The bonus coaching, of course, that's going to come within a few days or so. Once we get people in and get people settled in, I'll send you out an invitation to sign up for our first coaching session together. And then as far as the Lead Advisor software goes, if you're one of the first 25, you're going to have to email me for that. So if you also want access to the Lead Advisor software, the special bonus, send me a support ticket to iampauljames.com, okay? This is my support desk. Please allow me like 24 to 48 hours. I mean, I'm going to have a lot of people coming into the software at once, so it is going to take me a little bit of time to catch up on the support tickets. But what I'll do then is I'll issue you your own special license key to the Lead Advisor software, right? It's not something I can just send out to everyone because you each need your own license key. So I have to do that manually. So if you're one of the first 25, you'll get access to that as well. You just need to put in that support ticket and say, hey, Paul, I picked up Requestimate, hook me up with my your Lead Advisor software. I really want access to that, and I will do that for you. All right, I see we got people in already. I mean, that's insane. Congrats. Amanda said signed up. Thanks. Thanks, Amanda. Really, really appreciate it. Welcome aboard. Don't forget to put in that support ticket because obviously you're one of the first 25. You were probably like the first one to purchase. So send me that support ticket and we'll get that going for you. Now, obviously, I'm on the webinar now, and it's going to take me a little while to answer everyone. So, again, please allow 24 to 48 hours. So we're going to do some Q&A, some question and answer, and I'll stay and answer the questions. We've got a lot of people on here, so I do have to forewarn you that I may not be able to get to your question, and I'm not doing it on purpose. Like, I'm not purposely ignoring you. We got a lot of people on here. So if I, for some reason, miss your question, the support desk is here. If you're having trouble paying or you have any questions about that, this is a support desk. Put a ticket here. I'm pretty good about responding within 24 hours unless it's like a weekend or I'm on vacation or something. Then it might be like 48. I'm usually really, really quick at that stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go through questions now, and feel free to hang out as long as you need to. And again, otherwise just shoot a support ticket. And yeah. Okay, what's the time period it usually takes someone to turn profit in this business, Terry says. So I guess that would be determined on how long it takes you to actually get your site up and running, right? So actually building the site doesn't take too long. I mean, I can now in probably like 30 to 45 minutes. Probably your first time it'll probably take you an hour or two because you'll be learning WordPress, and again, I make it really easy. Like I bet like an 8-year-old could do it because I make it so easy. But then the next thing that comes into play is waiting for it to rank, and that can take a couple weeks. It really depends on, everything. There's a lot of variables involved, but I've got some tricks that help speed it up. Like, for example, in some of the training, I'll show you how to like start with an expired domain, which has age to it, meaning like someone's registered it in the past, and that age to it can actually help boost up your ranking. So it's not always an option, but sometimes it is. And when you can use that, that'll help speed up things significantly. But on average, about 2 to 3 weeks or so is about the average. Okay, John says no PayPal. No, I don't have a PayPal option for this one, John. We've built this platform entirely on Stripe because of the recurring aspect to it and because it's a software as a service that was just easier for us to do. So I apologize, but on this one we're doing credit cards because it's tied to Stripe. Dennis says, is this not for someone that is completely new to lead generation? And Dennis, the answer is it is actually. Whether you're experienced or whether you're not experienced doesn't really make a difference because you're getting access to 19 training videos. And in those 19 training videos, I'm kind of assuming that you know nothing. And the other thing is, Dennis, is that I also am going to show you my outsources. Like, for example, I just had a client that I ranked for last week, and I did it using an outsourcer 100%. I did none of the work myself, and it didn't cost me much money to do it either. So I'm going to give you access to that as well. So if you don't want to do any of the work yourself, you can definitely do a lot of the outsourcing. Okay, how do you get them to pay you? So what you do is you have tracking on all the leads, right? So you decide on when you want to send out billing or whatever. You decide on that, and then you'll have the tracking inside of Requestimate, right? I showed you the submission forms, and you can see all the leads that came in, and then you can decide on an amount per lead. So like, let's say it's $55 per lead, and you had 10 leads, then you can send them $550. The other option is there are services out there like Authorize.net. Authorize.net runs you about $10 per month. It will allow you to grab your customer's credit card, and then you can just do the automatic billing automatically. Like you just go in there and you type in $550, this is what they're getting charged for leads, and it sends them off a receipt showing that. The other option is there's a program called FreshBooks. FreshBooks is a great one too because FreshBooks will allow you to send invoices and allow them to pay the invoices online. These days, we're using mostly a combination of PayPal and Authorize.net. And I really love Authorize.net, but you can really get started with whatever you want. The lowest barrier way to start would probably be like PayPal or FreshBooks because it's a low barrier to entry, but as you start to really get serious, I would seriously look into Authorize.net. It's killer. Terry says, can I purchase tomorrow morning? I'm at work. I'm so excited. Yeah, Terry, you should be able to purchase tomorrow morning. I can't promise whether or not the bonuses will still be available. In fact, I will check right now. I got my phone in front of me, so I'm going to open up my email and just see where we're at. Okay, guys, we've got 5 people in right now, as of right now. So that means, I said 25, so that means that we have 20 spots left. If you want to get the Lead Advisor software and the bonus coaching, and of course, if you miss that, you still have the bonus coaching and everything else available up to the first 50. And I'm going to try to send out a replay as well. I'll probably put a timer on the replay page, just a quick forewarning, because this isn't something I plan to leave open. Like I said, you saw, let's go back. You saw here I programmed it in. I had my programmer program in on my admin side to check this box. One simple check of this box, and the price goes up to $497. So that is what I'm intending on doing. That's why I had him program it in there. This isn't like some false scare tactic. Like this is legit how I priced it and what I plan on doing. So, but when you get in as a special charter member, just a quick reminder, and I'll answer more questions, you're getting that high monthly fee waive forever, access to the Requestimate software, unlimited dynamic forms, 19 training videos on how to do it. You've got the lead tracking built in. And for those who are going to do the fast action bonus, which we still have spots left, for the first 25, you're getting 4 weeks of the bonus coaching, which is insane because the implementation coaching is really, really crucial. Like, I think it's really going to help you out. I know it's going to help you out. One thing that people struggle with is they have all these tools, right? But they don't know how to connect the dots. And that's what this is designed to do. I want to help you connect the dots and implement this all and get it running. But you're also getting access to the Lead Advisor software too, which is not even for sale. I put $497 per year on that as a value, but realistically it's probably a lot more. It's not even for sale anywhere. Like, you can't buy it. You could come to me and say, Paul, I want to buy just your Lead Advisor software, and I would tell you no. For the first 50, you're also going to get access to the 4 weeks of bonus coaching. So if you miss that first 25 gap, you're still in the clear. It's just you'd be missing out on the Lead Advisor software. But again, there's still slots open. There's still, last time I checked, there was still 20 slots open for the Lead Advisor software and the bonus coaching. And of course, you still get access to all the Requestimate. So again, pauljames.com/Requestimate. I saw a lot of people posting in the chat box that they're in, and that's awesome. Anyone else have any questions? Now, keep in mind that you can also generate leads without even doing SEO. Here's what I want to explain what I mean by that. So we implemented Requestimate for a bankruptcy attorney client. And what we did was we posted ads on Craigslist for business credit. Okay, we wanted to generate some business credit leads. So it's all a matter of positioning, but what we did was we wrote an ad and had them go to a landing page which had the Requestimate form on it. And we positioned it like this. Normally, as you've seen in the webinar, we position it as get a quote, right? Well, with the bankruptcy attorney who wanted business credit leads, we positioned it like this. See if you qualify, right? See if you qualify. So they would fill out the form, we would still ask all the same information, and you could generate leads like that as well, which is awesome. We also have done this in the dentist niche too. And what we did was we did it on PPC ads with Facebook ads. Okay, for cosmetic dentistry. We positioned that as consultation, right? Fill out this form for your free consultation. So it's all about positioning. Yes, I really, really like the home improvement niche and like stuff where you can have estimates built in because that's kind of where I came from. That was my background, and that's why I had the requestment software built. It can be used in other ways, and many people are using it in other ways, including myself. All right, so do you sign agreements ahead of time? That's up to you. I mean, it totally depends on how you would structure the deal. I typically like to not do agreements and instead just say, I'll keep sending you the leads as long as you keep paying me. Once you stop paying me, the leads stop. You know, I mean, it's really not that big of a loss for me. I tend to bill weekly. So if they stop paying me, I lose out on a week of leads and I move on to the next person. But once you have a client, okay, Leslie, once you have a client that is paying you, you built a relationship with, you generally have that client for life, right? I mean, it would be like cutting their own arm off to have those leads stop cutting in. That's the lifeblood of their business. All right, see if people are asking, can I do a split pay? I cannot on this, unfortunately. I've made it as reasonable as possible. Like I said, it's going to move to a monthly fee, and because you're part of my tribe now and you're here on this webinar, I wanted to give you a killer deal, and I think that it's a no-brainer. I think even at the original price, it's a no-brainer. So I hope that you can find a way to swing it, whether that be, you know, financing or borrowing from a friend or something like that. I think it's totally worth it and totally will change your business for the better. So if you can find a way to swing it, you definitely should. Any more questions, guys, before we wrap this up? Okay, I see some more coming in. Okay, Boyd says, I thought you were charging a percentage of the bill, or are you just charging per lead? So Boyd, like I said towards the beginning of this presentation, there's two ways to do it. You can either charge per lead like Home Advisor does. Like for the air conditioning install, we said $55, which would make this business model practically entirely passive because you wouldn't have to play around with percentages. But if you want to get more money, if you want to get more bang for your buck, you can charge on percentage, and percentage would be about 10% of the job. I prefer to charge on a per lead and just say, here's the leads I sent you. You pay me this whether or not you got the job or not. This is what you're paying me. So it's up to you to close the job, and my job ends after I send you the lead. So obviously you can't charge as much for that. We did a comparison on the example with the drywall, right? $55 versus $130 because off of the percentage basis you'd be getting paid a lot more. But there's a lot more legwork involved. So it's up to you. Maybe you want to start doing it that way to bring in a lot of extra cash flow, and maybe as you start scaling, you move towards a more passive way and just sending leads. It's totally up to you. All right, let's just see what else we have here. Boyd says, are you charging based on that rate sheet that I showed? So that's a very good way to base your prices. Another way to base your prices is to call around or email around for quotes. So let's say you're targeting Milwaukee movers. A good way to do it would be to call around and ask for moving quotes, maybe three to five different moving companies, and you can kind of get an estimation of what a lead is worth that way too. But when we start going into the coaching, I will give you access to that pricing lead sheet, okay? I see some people asking if they can have access to that rate sheet. Absolutely. Like as we start getting into the coaching, I'll give you access to that as well. So just, if I forget, remind me, but I should remember. Okay, Jesse says, I bought and submitted a ticket. Welcome aboard, Jesse. Really appreciate that. Things are going to be awesome for you. I hope that like everyone had a massive breakthrough during this because I put a lot of work into this, and this is all based on experience. I have kind of a unique perspective in the industry because I started off working for someone who was buying leads. So I had this unique perspective when I got into the lead generation business of what people were looking for. And they're looking for results, right? They don't want to know about SEO. They don't want to know about backlinking. They don't want to know about all of this stuff. They just want results. If you can just give them the leads, the results, you're going to have much happier clients, and at the end of the day, you're going to make more money because of it. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up here. I thank you so much for showing up. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. There was a lot of duplicate questions, and I may not have seen your question, or if you have problems checking out for some reason, if you run into any errors or anything like that, or have problems getting delivery, or want to claim your bonus, this is the place to do it. iampauljames.zendesk.com. At the time of wrapping up this webinar, I'll leave you with this. We have 12 spots left for the Fast Action bonus. So go ahead and jump on that. And thanks again. I look forward to seeing you inside. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.